These days in China, we don't have a programs. Long process of understanding the real issues of the project and then put into the design. So this time the exhibition is the solo exhibition from my office. 16 architecture project is part of that understanding.
Welcome to the new Marchitecture interview. We are pleased to introduce Doreen Heng Liu, founder and principal of NODE Architecture and Urbanism firm, and a critically acclaimed architectural practice based in Shenzhen, China.
In 2004, she founded NODE. NODE's work spans a wide spectrum, from large-scale urban interventions to cultural institutions, public buildings, and research-based design strategies.
So feel free to...
Yes, I'm from the Pearl River Delta in the South China. I was born and grew up over there, and then I went to university in the West. I studied in the UC Berkeley and Harvard. After all the graduation, I came back to practice in the Pearl River Delta. And then right now, I settled my office in Shenzhen. So this time, the exhibition is the solo exhibition from my office. We have two parts. One is for the built-up projects from my office, NODE, and then the other is about the water research from the Pearl River Delta, the Greater Bay Area Design Innovative Lab from Shenzhen University. So these two parts of the exhibition is composed the whole Aedes exhibition this time. And 2018, I was a curator for another show about Shenzhenness, but as clusters of a few architects together. So this time it's only my office or my lab. I think we take it very seriously because we have practice in the region for more than 15 years. Only until the recent 10 years, we have built-up projects. And then, as you know, Pearl River Delta in Shenzhen actually is the one is the most rapid development region in the world. Being an architect, we have a lot of opportunities to design the project. So our projects either go through the competitions or commissioned. The reason, because I probably more need to exchange, because I never do the solo exhibition in China, but this time is the first time because I would like to have kind of a dialogue. We are the Western educated architects went back to China to practice, and then China was from very limited urbanization until right now is very high speed urbanization is already almost reaching the 70% of the urban population. So you will see within the very short time, 40 years, we already have produced and designed so many architecture in order to fill up all the cities. It's a great opportunity to architects. So, but at the same time, speed, not necessary to be a good thing, because sometimes they need a time to reflect. And our project, even though this time we show 16 projects, together with 13 projects and 16 architecture buildings, it's for within the very 10 years time. So it's very quick. All the projects are very different. So some is the culture projects. For example, it's a biennial exhibition spaces. And also some of is infrastructure. Infrastructure is part of purification. We have also a lot of urban regeneration projects. You know, mostly these days in China, we don't have programs. So architects are being asked to do give you an urban village. You have to see, how to improve their everyday life. We have to jump in, we have to do the research and then observe and then to come up with the design issues, and then translate it into a certain kind of a strategy, and then you go into the list of the design project and process. So being an architect, you have to do a lot of things in China. I think that this project is a review of a long process of understanding the real issues of the project and then put into the design. So you have a freedom. At the same time, you also have a lot of limitation because the time, you have no time for you to thought through design and build. So everything is so fast, but the quality to us is very important. So this time you will see the project is a variation because we believe we have the response for certain kind of specific site and specific programs and specific communities we have to serve. All this able to integrate it and translate it into our specific design for the place. So this time review, the 16 architecture project is part of that understanding.
You already answered some of our questions.
Yes, I like it to be more like a back and forth because I don't understand a lot of European situation at this moment. I would like to understand more how the projects going forward in this country, because I think that Germany has a very sophisticated system to forwarding any project, right, from the scratch until the built-up form. But in China, a lot of things from the scratch, but they don't allow you to really put everything together, become a system. So everything is like coming in and out, coming in and out. So in the end, you were losing certain kind of where you're from at the beginning. It's a design process, could be very different. We are looking for certain kind of a dialogue coming here, bring our design project. So share our thinking and design process with the same professionals in this country.
It's interesting because we know only the side of architecture from a European board. And that's why it was so important to ask questions.
Yes.
So regarding to the systems that you already mentioned, there are differences between our systems. Do you use like beam technology?
Yeah, they do. But now in our case, because introduce the beam technologies demands a lot of money, investment, because you need to coordinate so many different, like electricity, mechanical, HVAC, or the system with tectonic components that require a lot of software capacity. Right now, very few big-scale design institutes are able to do it. Even though you adapt the beam, normally it's after everything happened. So, for example, you are the architects, you are the structural engineer, I'm the mechanical engineer. So we build everything, design from our own profession, but in the end, coordination still need major architects to coordinate and integrate it. It's very difficult in China to do this. So we cannot do that advance. After the design, they can put into the beam, and then but that's already finished the process. So no, it's not a very healthy one, but that's the way.
Are there any new technologies you guys use that maybe you would want to tell us about, like AI or something like that?
Yes, we are also very much being introduced by AI companies approach. But actually, to my office, sometimes it's not very difficult to use the AI. So even the small project like showing in our exhibition is more like integrated. So you need to structure. The structure have to integrate it, that kind of knowledge of space. Possession, the mechanical or the pipes and ducts. We need a lot of integration. Sometimes AI is really hard. Currently, the AI use a lot of forms. So at the beginning of the concept, you can use AI. So give you certain kind of, I want the Ishigami style, or I want the Zaha Hadid style. So that's very easy. It's a picture, that kind of inserting. AI only help very early phase, but not able to carry on to the further our design development.
Can you maybe tell us about three most important differences between Western architecture, European architecture, not about the structure, but in design itself?
Yeah, designing itself, I think I said I get my architecture degrees in the US. And then I think the conceptual ideas development is very important. You have to have an idea, and then you translate into the form. You have to understand philosophy, you have to understand the literature probably, and then also, of course, the site, and then the programs, the people's needs. I adapt this kind of culture very well. So this seems the component not necessarily to be form, but slowly they will become a form of a space. So that's a powerful process. But in China, sometimes I found they don't believe on the process, and also they can speed up the process. So they skip the process. You're integrating, understand the intellectual, integrated development. They only tracing after the forms. This form looks very different, and then very attractive, and then very shocking, So they like that kind of image fact, but very thin. I consider this is critical about my own cultures of architecture, everything based on the form, and then kind of looks beautiful or not. So doesn't really believe on that kind of integrated process of design. I found that is a big difference.
But that's super interesting, yeah, because in Germany this whole process is, I would say, pretty long, like the whole design iteration process, and then back and forth, and then like every time you go back to the design, like even in the planning phases, you still always like questioning it, at least from my experience. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's very interesting to see this difference. But it's nice that we can see in your exhibition as well how it looks in the end.
You will see very different, because one is the research, we are all challenged, climate change, and then all the ecological crisis and also water rises, all the issues, the global concerns. China at the same time, they're still under rapid speed of transformation. This could be positive and negative at the same time. So when we are doing the design and proceeding, but we have to take care about the negative sides and then put the negative side into some positive, right? So we're doing a lot of this kind of back and forth to understand. Yeah, so that's what we are doing these days for my project. So always in the center of the public, and then all the space actually is good for them. At the same time, public is not only for the sake of the public space, is also mixed use, a lot of different things. So invisible, that kind of infrastructure, yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, yes.
It was incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And this was another interview from Marchitecture. And we are very grateful to have a nice dialogue with Doreen Heng Liu.